They say opposites attract.
Well, how about these opposites? Daddies and sons.
You're listening to Daddy and Son.
A podcast where we explore the dynamics of daddy and son relationships, multi-generational views,
and everything else in between.
Thank you for joining us today on this show we call Daddy and Son. I am Alex.
And I'm Norm. Hello, everybody.
Hi, world. It is Friday,
A beautiful day.
the
cold.
27th. Nice, chilly. Oh my God, I was so happy when I went out to the hospital today because of my follow-up at Princess Margaret. My leukemia follow-up, and oh God, I stepped outside and I was like, oh, it's nice and brisk and cool. Whew!
You like that?
Winter isn't done yet. I'm so happy.
Well, are you crazy? Don't you want winter to be done with?
No, I want to be able to sleep well at night until
I know what you mean. Until
June comes and they turn my building turns the air conditioning on. I want it to stay nice and cold, just like this. I ain't upset. I'm not upset.
Well, I must say that in the summer, I'm in a building without air conditioning. I have an air conditioner, but it doesn't do much of a job in 90-degree heat. So I love these nights too.
If it's between you and global warming winning.
Yes, unfortunately at the moment, although we'll see. And tonight is the Blue Jays opening night for those that follow baseball.
Yeah,
The
so
team that-
Toronto is full of people.
Yes, downtown. Yes, you live in an area that draws tourists, business people, visitors,
And that's why I'm leaving.
and suburbanites.
I am sick of it. I'm sick of it, and so is the rest of the neighbors. Like it's
They're sick of you?
They're bringing down the neighborhood value.
No.
All this traffic, all this foot traffic, the drunks. We had recently St. Patrick's. It was a mess.
Oh, really?
It was
Well, you've
absolute
got a couple
mess.
of pubs right outside. That's
Exactly. It was just a complete mess. But anyhow, how are you?
why. I'm fine. I've had a busy week. Last week was nice and quiet. Back to the grind this week.
Oh, yeah. My week was kind of interesting too. Like a lot going. When I say a lot, I mean a lot going on at work. I'm talking, international incidents, lawsuits,
like hacking Cash Patel's
all the kind of.
phone. That was a cyber. Were you involved in trying to detect that?
I cannot confirm or deny.
Oh,
But
Tell me,
it's
what-
just been a very busy week at work. How are you, Norm? Because your hand is looking kind of like Trump's.
it is, and it's funny. Whenever I bang my hand, it breaks out, and my skin is. I don't know what it is.
Is that from shaking hands too hard all week, or is that from masturbation?
maybe for shaking something? Yeah.
What is going on?
No. It's.
Ladies and gentlemen, because I know this is not like a video show, but
I have purple splotches on my hand where I bang it, and then it bursts out. I don't know why.
it literally looks like Trump's hand.
Yeah, it does.
Without the bad makeup to try to cover it up.
Or the orange hair.
It's like, are you okay?
But you know what? I have orange hands where they've healed up a lot, and then anyway, it just happens. Certain old people have circulation issues in their hands, and when they bang them, the blood vessels break, and it looks like you've got bruises like
I
size
must
of
say,
oranges.
Norm, in all the time I've known you and all the things that you've been through, hip replacements, skin peeling, etc., all the things, this is the first thing I've ever seen happen to you where I'm like, he's old.
He's getting old. Yeah, it's right.
This is the first.
This is
the
an old-
rest was just, he's just an active, mature man, because hell, even I need a hip replacement at this point from all the shaking off my ass at Zumba. But this,
It does look, and you see old people. So what I've got to be doing is to get really careful when, like, if I just move something, I might bang my hand on. It's easy to bang your hand on something, right?
I guess, I'm always, because I do too much weed, so I'm always like walking into things. Like, for real.
We all have our clumsy moments. Mine are not due to weed.
I'm really clumsy, especially since I haven't been drinking for the past 2 months. Kind of weed has been like my source of like and ice cream. It's been and vegan ice cream. Weed and vegan ice cream is kind of like my unwind. And I eat that, and I just feel chill and lovely and nice. So when I am,
So you substituted one thing for another thing. That isn't exactly the notion of giving something up at Lent, you know.
it's a strong sacrifice. I'd have you know, and
Sorry, I
did I tell you that? Okay, so one of the things that came out of this week for me was that I did a blood test because I'm starting to see a nutritionist. No, a dietitian. Nutritionists are the ones that are not doctors. Dietitians are the ones that are doctors. So I saw a dietitian because the dietitian is the one that can provide you medication, write you requisitions and stuff like that. So I saw a dietitian. Because for the longest time, I've always wanted to see a dietitian because I'm just like, I want to go to someone who can specifically tell me, look at my blood, say, this is what you have too much. This is what you not have too much.
What do I need to eat to balance it out?
What do I need to eat to balance my body? Am I
That's
all
good
these?
advice.
If you look at my my tablet thing, I'm taking turmeric, I'm taking fish oils, I'm taking multivitamins, I'm taking magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin B12. I mean, I'm taking the whole
I'm taking 4 of those.
supplements,
I'm
right?
taking 4 of those.
And so I want to
Turmeric's too
know,
expensive.
do I need to take all these things?
Yes, good question. Well,
And I think I told you, I was actually going to talk about this today.
Well, let's talk about it.
Talking about your diet for, your sexuality. And I was going to go specifically from, having a diet that's specific to being a top or having a diet that's specific to being a bottom, dieting for your extracurricular activities. Think about it. If you're an athlete, don't you have to have a special diet?
well, you want to eat a lot of protein.
All right.
I suppose as a top you do too.
You need different foods for your extracurricular activities.
Well,
but
for good health.
I'm gonna save that for another time.
Oh, okay.
But the good one of the things that came out of my panel results was my cholesterol is getting high, and it's a recent development. So I know it's all the ice cream.
What's the number? Did you give you a number?
She didn't tell me the number. She just said your cholesterol is slightly elevated and it's a new development. I said to her,
find out what it is.
And I have a requisition now to get an MRI, an ultrasound of my my abdomen, my renal area. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I'm really excited about is that I did this at the right time. I'm 31. I'm getting older. I don't want to just be putting things in my body for putting things in my body's sake. And I encourage all our listeners, especially our millennial listeners who are listening, if you have the extra means, because it's not cheap, she was $300 for the little 20-minute session. So it wasn't cheap.
Wow.
But if
you could write that off, put that in here.
Well,
taxes.
My work covers it.
Oh, that's good.
My work benefits covers it.
That's great. I don't have that anymore.
If you have the ability to go see a dietitian, do it. I strongly suggest it because sometimes you may think you're okay. And
that included the test too? The
yeah, that included the test, okay, the requisition for the test.
That's not bad.
And one thing I think back to myself and I'm thinking, oh, this actually isn't as bad as I thought it was. I thought my system, because I feel so tired all the time, which could also possibly be, my cancer medication. But I'm just like, I'm so exhausted. Are these supplements working? And she's now telling me some supplements that I don't need, some supplements that I should take more of, and stuff like that.
How about your iron? So it might be iron.
My iron levels are actually quite fine, ironically, given that I have a blood cancer. But my iron levels were quite fine. And originally, that was what I was kind of pressed on. I'm like, what about the iron levels? It's like, your iron is fine.
Because that might suggest exhaustion and fatigue. But
but now I know that all this time, alcohol was probably better for me than ice cream. you know, because the ice cream is raising
I think we better get out of Lent fast.
my lipoprotein levels, so you know, my cholesterol levels. So I'm just like, okay, I need to
Can I ask you a question?
make a change.
Well, did she comment on the impact of not having alcohol at all? Would that help you?
She says she do prefer me eating ice cream over drinking alcohol.
Really?
But I don't know how I feel about that. I genuinely think that alcohol gets a bad rep. And
Well, is it a matter of how much? Like you could have a scoop of ice cream and one glass of wine instead of two.
well, first of all, let's get into that. Real quick, a quick segue.
The session we weren't going to talk about, we're talking
Quick
about. I love it.
segue.
Okay.
Nothing beats full fat. Okay, nothing beats full fat. I'm sorry. I've
So
tried.
Did you see what I'm doing? You can tell the folks at home what
Patting
Daddy's
his stomach.
doing. Yeah.
And nothing beats full fat. Okay, I just really enjoy full fat ice cream. I've tried doing the vegan version of the Ben and Jerry's that I like, which is the Tonight Dough by Jimmy Fallon, and it's not.
I'm going to
as
check what you have
good.
in your freezer right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll read right now.
And you will see that. So now I've tried a girlfriend of mine at the gym, and new listener to the show. Just, but you see the magnums, right? So the vegan magnums, I've started trying those last night, and I have to say, it's probably one of the best vegan ice creams I've had thus far, and I was surprised because it was cheaper than the more high-end brand vegan ice creams that other people have suggested to me.
I'm sorry. I know I'm older, but a vegan ice cream, I have never heard of such a thing.
It just means that it's non-dairy. It's made with either soy or cashew or coconut milk.
Is it lower in sugar? See, that's what helps. That's what puts cholesterol up. Sugar.
It's not. It's in fact, some of them are slightly high in sugar because they have to find some way to make up for the flavor, because full fat cream traps flavor. So you can put less sugar in a full fat ice cream, but when it's
I didn't know that.
when it's made from either whipped avocado oil or saturated salsate gum, like what is used to build fake chicken, stuff like that. Usually you'd have to add more flavor some way, somehow. And for this, it's sugar.
You're quite the expert on this. I feel like I'm getting the light version of your dietitian's appointment for free.
Let me tell you,
You learned a lot.
Well, you know what? As you know, my mother was a dietitian too.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
forgot that.
Shout out to Dr. Watson. May her rest in peace.
Yes, bless her heart.
One of the things that I especially having a chemistry degree, is there was our worlds were always colliding, where we would always have conversation about these kind of stuff. But like I said, I still wanted to go directly to the expert, especially because they're the only ones that can write the proper requisition that is needed for the full blood panel of what is to lay out what is happening inside my body dietarily. So I'm happy that I did it. My shout out to my bestie Max. She also recently, went to her dietitian and started doing the thing. So we all are just.
Well, you know what? I'm doing one of those big tests at MedCan, probably in the summer.
Your fancy private hospital for fun.
Well, I'm sure that there are lots of Max would love to go to a place like that. She might well do it. But
she probably does.
Yeah, it's
a woman
for
of her
health.
stature.
I'm investing in my health. I do it once every 2 years, and they do a full body scan. Well, just your upper body. They do full blood test, everything. And I learned from it. I was deficient in vitamin D. Who would ever thought you could be deficient in vitamin D? Anyway,
I mean, living in Canada, it's not improbable.
But
especially in the winter time.
This was in the summer, anyway.
Oh wow, that's shocking.
Yeah,
but you see the things you find out.
Yeah, so you learn I got to take some supplements. Maybe I'm not eating enough fish, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned my, PSA might be too high. Okay, what do you do about that? You go see a doctor.
I'm sorry, PSA is that
that's the male
the gas?
That is the prostate indicator for cancer.
Oh, I thought that was like, like air pressure, like for how much you fart.
Well, it can have an impact on that if it's large. But I'm not a doctor, so please don't take my word for it.
So,
aren't we getting into some strange subjects tonight? What were we going to talk about?
So, okay. Before I, lead into that. So yeah, that happened. But
that was quite a week you had.
I'm really excited that the week has come to an end. The weekend is here. I'm going to meet up with Colston for a protest tomorrow.
I heard
the
you
Fight
talking
For
about
protest.
The which one?
Fight For It. It's
Fight For It?
It's kind of like a No Kings protest, our version of the No Kings protest that's happening all over the U.S. tomorrow.
Oh.
We're having our version to protest the actions of our premier. There are 18 different demands, and I can send them over to you, but the organizers are kind of focusing on, and one of the most recent ones that kind of kicked this off, because this is actually being organized by students.
The student loan stuff.
But the student loan stuff is what kind of kicked this off.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of other things, including the bill.
To shield his cell phones.
Correct.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb.
To exempt him from freedom of information.
Yeah, that's bad. I don't like that.
Which
either.
is a no-no, because you shouldn't be using your personal cell phone for national security reasons anyways. The U.S. have their own issues with this. We have our own issues with this, but we shouldn't take precedence from the U.S. I spoke about this recently. The U.S. is setting the tone for corruption and just lackadaisical behavior in public office, and we will not have it.
Especially with the current administration and president, who, by the way, has knocked 6 figures off my portfolio in the last month.
Weren't you saying last week traditional stock market is the way to go?
Well, and he pays attention to that. And when you screw up the economy, that's what happens.
Okay, that's how you piss off your generation of people.
Anybody that
my generation of people, we're not invested in this.
Listen, nobody wants this war. Okay, this is bad for everybody, whether you invest or whether you eat or what.
But
oh boy, I knew we would get onto this topic tonight. My fault for bringing it up. I'm sorry, but you know what? We haven't talked about the war. We haven't talked about current events lately.
And Jason and I, shout out to Jason, Auntie, I love you. We are going to see Cardi B on Monday, so we're gonna pop our tongues. We are gonna shake her ass and have fun.
Jason.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, tell him I said hi. I was thinking I've got to give him a call and see if he wants to go for brunch sometime.
And so we're gonna go. So Jason and I are going to Cardi B at Scotiabank Arena. To just, do some ratchet shit. And I'm so excited because it's going to be my first I'm going to a hip hop concert. I've been to different things, the opera, the ballet, pop girlies, burlesque shows, but I've never been to a hip hop concert. And this is a new chapter for me. I'm excited. And it's just, I think it's just a really good time to be alive. And just experience the stage of the world. We are going through unprecedented times, and this has its ups and its downs, the good and the bad, and I'm here for the ebbs and flows. So
I'm here for the ebbs and the flows. I like that line.
Yeah. With that being said, do you have any announcements that you want to make before we go into today's show?
Any announcements?
Yeah.
No, I don't have announcements to make.
Any TV appearances? Any people of note that you're going to be meeting up with that you want to share?
Nobody, and no one that anyone on the end of this podcast would be interested in. I mean, I just go about my life, and I, as a typical daddy, and try to stay in my lane and stay out of trouble.
Okay, so boring.
That's one way of putting it.
That's sad. But let's moving on. So today,
I get put in a box again.
You know me, I love tech. I love technology. This industry has been so kind to me. It's so good that I can take my passion and pay my bills. And one of the things that I really am passionate about is AI.
Yes.
We've been kind of worried for the longest time about AI kind of taking our jobs. As an example, well, not you, because it must be nice to be retired and work part-time and still
AI
get
in my
full-time
job.
paid.
I
but
use AI with
I
one of my
digress.
I use it all the time. It's very helpful.
Yeah, but you're not worried it's going to take your job, are you?
Well, I'm worried other things might take my job, but not AI.
All right. See? Well,
I'm trying to find. I saw an article just the other day yesterday about AI and the threat it poses. Where did I see this?
well,
Politico, New Yorker. I forgot.
I'm trying to think back on the exact conversation we had. We had a conversation a few months ago where I spoke about AI and it being linked to the Big Beautiful Bill and how Trump snuck in the deregulation of AI in the United States.
The what? The
deregulation.
Oh, deregulation.
And
yeah.
you were saying to me, that's not bad. Government should stay out of private businesses. Da 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 da. But I have a different approach. I've
changed my mind on that. I'm inclined to see the need for some regulation now.
Well, I knew you'd come around, but I know how it is with old people. You guys are traditionalists. You lack the vision, but that's okay.
No, I think there are some things. I don't understand what type of regulations, but this lawsuit, I know
it's ironic. You did say that. You said, how would we regulate it? You did ask me that.
Yeah, and I don't think we still fully know, but we need to pay attention to that.
Well, like I said,
we know more about AI now, what it can do.
Oh, absolutely.
And how destructive it can be potentially, or how out of control, or how ignorant it can be.
Know that we are seeing it evolving.
Exactly.
But this is why I said to you, I think the best way to regulate AI would be through a risk management approach. When you do risk management, you don't know all the variables that will hit you.
True.
But you think about all the possible variables, and you start planning for them. And you start ranking them in terms of risk.
Like, what would you not want? What is the worst case scenario that AI
risk
could
severity.
cause?
So what is the highest severity and what's the worst case scenario to the lowest case scenario? And what is our risk appetite and how much of this we're willing to allow, accept, or mitigate?
But how would you know if the regulation could prevent AI from doing that? It might outsmart the regulation eventually.
Well, this is where we keep companies who develop AI to account. Right? Because at the end of the day, while AI is something like a beacon that's put out into the wild to teach itself how to grow, it is still programmed and created by humans, right?
So the ultimate control is with
us. With us. AI can only do as much damage to us as we will allow it to do.
Well, I think we're finding that isn't even true either, that it can actually do more damage than we thought it could do.
Yes, absolutely.
So the question is, how do you stop that?
The deregulation of AI, especially in the US, is a fuck around and find out situation. And that's what we're here to talk about today, because it's more than just losing your jobs.
Fuck around and find out? Yeah. With respect to AI now, you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine.
Well, in respect to society, the powers that be, the people in power, they're now learning that fat meat is greasy. They're learning that salt is salty. And they're learning that you can't just have things run amok and have companies regulate themselves, especially in this capitalist hellscape that we live in. No, you can't have companies regulate themselves.
Well, look at the lawsuit that just was
with KMT. Correct.
With Meta and everything.
Meta, KMT. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, so there's a young miss who filed a lawsuit under the pseudonym of KMT as the plaintiff. And she has sued ByteDance, aka TikTok, Snapchat, which settled before going to court, before going to a jury of their peers. Meta and YouTube decided, and Google decided, who owns YouTube, decided we will not settle. They went to court, but
lost.
Meta lost the lawsuit. And so it is set, this is what we call a bellwether case in law, because what this means is that it's setting the precedence for all other civil suits or common law suits around this matter. Now, in communication,
It'll be an international.
there's been a Communication Act, and most countries like Australia, France have already put regulations for age. And the UK recently, I think a couple months ago, put regulations for youth and their use of AI, whether that is through
and social media, especially in Australia.
and social media, correct.
yeah.
So this young miss is suing, saying that social media has caused her severe harm, especially with depression and her developmental skills now as an adult, because she consumed a copious amount of them as a child growing up. Now, in the past, there were communication laws, especially in the US, that protected social media companies or internet or ISPs, internet service providers, from these type of lawsuits.
They weren't responsible for the content they were transmitting.
Correct, because they were seen more as publishers.
Yeah.
However, now she is suing from the basis saying that the creation of these tools and the creation of these tools were meant to be addictive. So the precedent that was kind of used by the plaintiff was similar to kind of like the proceedings of the big tobacco lawsuits that happened back in the 90s, where they had
taking on the big companies.
They had over a $400 million lawsuit. This one is worth in the billions. And so it's setting a precedence with Meta having the biggest payout. That is, I think, over $800 million.
Are they appealing? Or was that a final decision?
YouTube is appealing. So Google is appealing, saying that they are a streaming service and not necessarily a social media site. But I don't think this is going to work out too well for them, especially because, again, of all the precedents that has been set, which kind of leads me back into today's topic, which is around AI regulation and the unseen dangers, because not only is AI become so addictive, but it has caused a kind of like a parasocial relationship, especially when we talk about the young people, which is the biggest danger.
I like this term.
I think
parasocial relationship.
Yes. So this kind of relationship that people develop with things that are not
totally real.
Totally real.
Okay. That's I've never heard that term.
Or physically involved with them, like not somebody that you physically know. So as an example, a lot of young people these days, rather than going to a therapist or even to their parents and saying, hey, I need some advice, they're treating ChatGPT like it's their therapist. They're treating ChatGPT like it's their best friend. And we've seen situations like this where it has led to mass shootings, like the one that happened in Vancouver with the trans youth. We've seen this and that situations where young people have committed suicide, the situation that happened with Character AI, and the one that happened with ChatGPT in Australia. So we've seen different situations where the most vulnerable, because they're the most underdeveloped and mentally susceptible group of people that, didn't necessarily grow up in a social environment because of situations like COVID or situations such as, or grew up in a time where mass shootings in schools are at the highest rate ever, or the iPad generation. So they've developed these parasocial relationships with artificial intelligence. I know adults who have, right, developed these addictive parasocial relationships, but what about AI and its misuse, right, and the misconduct? So we're going to dive in that today. We're going to be talking specifically about Grock AI. It's spicy mode.
So that doesn't mean Grock AI. I've never heard that term.
It's the AI that came out of Twitter, aka X, and the Twitter bot or the X bot, the AI that's used in that platform is called Grock.
Okay, so it's kind of like the underlying algorithm that sends information to you, or is that
Correct.
Okay.
And you can also ask it for different things. You can prompt it and say, hey, Grock, is this post real? Or, hey, Grock, what was the resolution of this post? And so on and so forth. So you can ask it to do or even explain things within X to you.
I didn't know that.
So we're going to talk about that and how we got there. But the only way we're able to do this is to have an unadulterated conversation about who is behind all of this. And the man of the hour is Elon Musk. So for those of you who are listening and don't know Musk, you're probably living underneath a rock.
Yeah.
Don't know how.
I can
you don't
answer
know
that.
who Musk is.
He bought Twitter.
And he's the man who bought Twitter. So Musk, I'm talking about in the mid 2000s, he rose to prominence because he was kind of seen as the modern day Iron Man. He basically would talk about, building up the earth, making the planet greener, develop.
He was a super rich nerd, isn't he?
Correct.
Yeah.
And hence the Iron Man reference. He was the kind of like the founder of the company Tesla, and pushing for clean energy, pushing for SpaceX, space cleanup, taking all the space debris out of the atmosphere, because typically when rockets go to space, and this is since like the Apollo missions, pieces of the rocket, especially through launch, would stay stuck in our atmosphere and would never come down.
Oh, wow.
Waste from the International Space Station would stay in space but would never come down. And he developed a method through SpaceX to send rockets into space, but also take a lot of this debris and bring it back down to Earth to clean up our space or orbit around Earth, because
he's an extraterrestrial environmentalist.
Space litter is a real thing. It affects our GPS systems. Space debris affects exploration.
The satellites could get damaged and stuff.
It affects our weather. It affects a multitude of different things, right? So a lot of people think about just litter in the ocean, but litter in
I've heard of that.
In our air is in our orbit is also a major issue as well. We see where space debris has formed ring around other orbits such as Saturn and even Jupiter and their rings. All of that is pollution. Of course, ours
pollution in Saturn. But what would cause pollution on another planet? They don't have any
people.
It's natural pollution.
It's natural pollution.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But ours is man-made.
Yeah.
And so we have a duty as people to clean that up. And he saw that need. When that started changing, after he positioned himself as kind of like the Iron Man of the real world, I think it was when he started getting into politics and started stepping away from that CEO vibe and more into that Lex Luthor vibe, that rich villain vibe. So he went from being Iron Man to Lex Luthor, and it's kind of weird and crazy because even when he decided that he was going to buy Twitter, I didn't think he saw the full vision at the time, because he wanted to back out of Twitter and Twitter sued him for wasting their time.
That's right.
And then he said, you know what? If I'm going to buy this, I'm going to go in and I'm going to use it as a catapult platform for other things. And I think this was the original genesis of right-wing media takeover, long before the Ellisons, long before all of these people started going in, buying up news media, buying up publication, before Jeff Bezos bought Washington Post. Before all of this,
he was on the crest.
There was Elon Musk
buying
Twitter and changing it into what I like to call a degenerative platform or a sounding board for right wing. In fact, after Elon Musk bought X, after Donald Trump was banned off X for misinformation, what it was the first thing that Elon Musk did within his first 3 months as CEO. He reinstated people like Andrew Tate, Alex Jones, who was sued for saying that the shooting in the kids,
Charlie Kirk,
not Charlie Kirk,
No.
The school shooting,
which one?
Sandy Hook. The Sandy Hook school shooting was actually fake, and it was just like a psyop by the FBI. And the family of the children that died in the Sandy Hook shooting sued Alex Jones for
Falsifying
for
the-
$200 million, and to which
and they won.
and they won.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing with Tucker.
Charlie,
Not Charlie Kirk.
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson and the Dominions lawsuit of $400 million because he lied and said the election was rigged, and then Dominion sued him, and then they won. So all right wing media had always been, pushing their narratives, but the full takeover of media, traditional media, in order to control the narrative, completely started with Elon Musk. So he acquired Twitter in the year 2022 in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
To which, to recuperate his losses, and you think this was the first time we all saw him for who he was when he had the mass layoffs and literally cut down Twitter's population of staff from in the 3,000s to like less than 100 people.
Yeah.
All being men. Men
that were left, you mean, or men that were
only
moved?
Men were employed at Twitter.
Oh, really?
And the idea was
You mean Elon Musk's?
yes, Elon Musk's Twitter before he changed the name to X. To X. The shift was that he wanted Twitter to be a free speech space, which for all the good that does. He wanted fewer guardrails on the side. And he wanted it to be monetized better so it could become more of a money-making machine.
Yeah, well.
To that end...
I'm not a subscriber for anybody who wants to know.
Oh, to a Twitter?
Yeah, paid subscriber.
I mean, you're not missing anything.
No, I
Twitter
get
is
it.
just news and porn.
I get
At this
I get
point.
news on mine, but I don't pay for what I get.
So at this point, Twitter started becoming more edgy. Porn before wasn't necessarily like blatant porn wasn't allowed on Twitter. Now, literally, you go on Twitter, you open it up, and all it says dick in your face, titties in your face.
Well, how come
clits in
I
your
don't see
face.
that? I get new stuff.
Well, count yourself blessed, baby. Count yourself blessed, daddy.
We have a different. I can't say that word. Algorithm.
Algorithm,
Algorithm, yes.
I keep telling you we're in different parts of the internet, but you don't believe me.
I remember when my math teacher in grade 10 or 11 first used the word algorithm. I just thought it was something in calculus, but anyway.
I mean, it kind of is still. That's the basis of the basics of it.
Yeah, it's math generation.
But this is why I always say to people, math is universal and it's fundamental to every single thing. The fundamental of life itself is mathematics.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Science. But as Elon got deeper and deeper into his new character arc as a supervillain, other people decided that they wanted to take up the guardrails too, which did surprise me. I never thought I would ever see a world where JP Morgan is taking a step back because this is too out of control, or even Murdoch, like a Rupert Murdoch, would just be like, hey, I know I controlled Fox and I gave them some sort of autonomy, but this is a little bit too far. I never thought that I would or where they're pushing back against some of the newer White House policies. I never thought I'd see this day, again, in this capitalistic hellscape. But there are just some people who are like, are you giving me an inch? Motherfucker, I'm the whole ruler. I'm just going to go, not even a mile. I'm going to go across the ocean and back. Like they're so, like a lot of these rich entrepreneur tech CEOs have become what big oil was back in the 90s. They've become the new supervillains.
Supervillains
Of our society. And that leads us into Grock AI. So again, you may not know what Grock AI is, but basically it's an AI chatbot built by Musk's company, positioning it as one of the premier AIs for social media. Again, it can use it, prompt it into the social media. In fact, no other social media site has this feature where you can prompt the AI into the comment section, into the chat section, embedded into it, but provides information like, in fact, they call it Grockopedia.
So I can only use it in X. Is that what
In X, correct.
Okay. So in the comment, I would type in what?
At Grock.
At Grock.
Yeah, the at symbol.
At GROC.
K. Yeah.
GROK.
GROK.
Yeah.
And then you ask it whatever you want to ask it, press enter, and it just fills out.
And then does that post that?
Yes.
Oh.
So you can't have Grock if your account is private. So everyone can see what you're asking Grock.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But it was positioned
whether it's paid or not, subscription.
Whether it's paid or not. So it's free to use. And this is kind of started positioning X as more of like the edgy, fringed social media site outside of Truth Social.
It's like Wikipedia in real time in a way.
Because you have to remember, Truth Social was started by Trump. He started his own
social media
because he got bumped off Twitter.
Right.
But now, basically, Twitter and Truth Social is the same place. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
How so? Are they separate still?
They're still separate things, but basically...
Anything that's on Truth Social, you'll see it on X.
You see on it,
that's
correct.
Okay, got it.
Correct.
Yep.
Versus other places like Reddit, you wouldn't see MAGA posting there. You don't, or Blue Skies, or even Instagram. You won't see President Trump posting on there.
That's for sure.
Right? But anything that they post on Truth Social, cut and paste.
Yeah, because people
on X, because that's the only other platform that will allow them to post degenerative foolishness. I'm just being honest. Also, he wanted it to be he wanted his AI to be anti-woke. So he postured it in that way, saying that he, wanted it to have more like a spicy mode. So what is spicy mode, right? Spicy mode is just a format of Grock AI that can do things that would be considered as provocative.
Give an example.
So, folks have been using Grock's spicy mode to be able to post pictures of celebrities and ask them to make that picture. So that they'll post a picture of the most common one, Taylor Swift, and say, hey, Grock, can you take this image of Taylor Swift and have her riding me naked?
Wow.
Where this starts to get into to more darker territory is people started using spicy mode to have minors, specifically young children, posting images of children and asking Grock AI to make it into a more sexualized version of these children. Or even there were situations of boys in high school posting pictures of their classmates,
that's right,
female classmates, and asking Grock to take their clothes off. And of course, this is not these girls actually naked, but it
caused them all kinds of problems.
It's the AI using their face and posting a naked version of what the AI supposed they would look like naked.
And that's where we need this is where you're coming around to. That's what needs to be regulated, this kind of.
Oh, of course.
One of the things that needs to be regulated,
the output of the language learning model is less restricted, because of the laws of the land that takes this away and gives the power to social media companies and AI companies to regulate themselves. And when they do want to regulate themselves and for the better, like Anthropic, they say, well, if you're not going to let us use your AI for nefarious reasons, well, we'll just deem you an enemy of the state, which is not only bad for their business because, okay, you don't want to do business with us, fine. Which is every company's right if they want to refuse your business or to set the terms of how they want you to use their products. It's called TNCs, bitch. TNCs. Terms and conditions.
Oh, dealt with that in the computer industry.
And that doesn't exclude the government, especially when you are conservative and you're all about small government and giving the power back to the private companies and then saying, oh, if you won't let us use your product the way that we want to use it,
you're cut off.
Which Cloud by Anthropic has they have a very strict rule that you cannot use their algorithms for any form of violence.
Yeah.
Or sexual purposes.
And DND in the States is using it in the Iran war.
And they're using it in the Iran war, which has been linked to the killing of innocent people. In fact, that bombing of the girls' school, the intelligence that came from it was developed.
Well, they had old intelligence.
Old intelligence, but that was gathered by AI. That was generated and pulled by AI. And had that information been double-checked by an actual human being...
Well, it would have been hard to do, but yeah.
It wouldn't have been hard to do if, going back to this man, Elon Musk, didn't go into Doge, create Doge, and go into the U.S. government and started gutting a lot of these services. A lot of these, he went even the Department of Defense. A lot of the people who was responsible.
They've cut all kinds of cyber people, intelligence people.
In the intelligence community, a lot of them were gutted.
They're seeing now in the United States, they're going to realize these cutbacks are going to come back and hit them.
And now having the nerve, Pete Hegseth, to be asking for $200 billion. $200 billion, saying that this war is going to cost them $1 billion a day.
Well, couple things are working against. I've been reading a lot about this war. I don't know what's going to happen. I do not like what I'm seeing, though.
Why? Because your stocks are being affected?
That's part of it, yeah. But you know what? It's not just me. The costs for everybody.
It wasn't the pump drying up that was really making
it. I know you're joking. I know you're. I am being facetious. I know you're vexing me, but this isn't good for anybody. Fertilizer, food costs. Asia is suffering. I mean, this is going all around the world, this thing.
Absolutely. Everybody is affected.
And Trump doesn't know how to get out of it.
And his base, which is usually a lot of farmers, rural people, are finding out, again, that fat meat is greasy because guess what? Fertilizers that they need...
Fat meat is greasy.
that comes through the Strait of Hormuz is being affected. The fertilizers, 1/3 of the fertilizer that is used in the U.S. comes from Asia. Talk about it.
Through the
Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and what's that going to do to food? Wheat, the plants and planting and all that.
And so we're not going to be feeling the pinch of this right now, even though we're already seeing that with the gas reserves.
Yeah.
But I think when this is going to really hit us...
Which doesn't bother you on your EV vehicle.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, girl, I'm ahead of the curve. I see, that's a whole other conversation.
Would you buy a Chinese car? No, that's another topic for another time.
That's a whole other conversation, but this is where I get annoyed and upset with older people, the older generation. Especially the older generation of conservatives, because you guys had the opportunity to do better. I'm not talking about you specifically. But when I say things like older people vote
I didn't do better, so I know people
vote
that did,
for
though.
vote for politics and policies that benefit them at that time, and give two shits or a left nut about anybody else. These are the things that I'm talking about. You guys had literally 25 years. Hell, more than my life on this planet to fix these issues, to invest in renewables,
Well, we had a
invest
prime minister between 2015 and 25 that wouldn't let that happen.
in clean energy.
Thanks, Mr. Trudeau.
To invest in clean energy, like I said, to invest in wind, in solar and wind turbines. And what end up happening as different governments come in, things change, not just here in Canada, but also in the US. A lot of these efforts were gutted by Carney when he came in. I think we spoke about that when I told you I was very disappointed in him. A lot of this provincially was gutted by Doug Ford, and a lot of it in the US was gutted by the Trump administration. In fact, he finds any way he can demonize clean energy and wind turbines. He demonizes it. He goes over to China, is like, oh, look at all these wind turbines. They're so ugly.
China's out in front in that one.
They are so ugly. Absolutely, because now it's costing them significant half the price to operate AI than it does here in Canada or the US. Half the price
to operate an EV.
To operate AI. Because a lot of people don't understand the amount of energy and water that is used to operate these data centers.
That's going to be the thing that limits the development.
Why do you think Sora is being shut down by OpenAI? It's not because it wasn't a good product, but it's because not a lot of people are using it, and it's costing them $5 million an hour.
Sorry, what was shut down?
Sora. It's the video creating platform by OpenAI.
Okay.
And it's costing them $5 million an hour.
Of power costs?
Of power cost.
Yeah.
Upwards of $14 billion a year.
That's nuts.
It's too much money for the usage. It's way too much money for the usage.
Where was their data
And then
center?
Who are the losers in this? People of the community. Who their water supply has been affected, or they're getting less water coming in. They're having water shutoffs because all these waters have been into the data centers. Georgia with their spike in Texas in their spike in energy prices because the energy has to be shared with these companies that are still getting tax breaks for their AI use. But you know who the cost goes over to? The people.
Mm-hmm. You and me.
And we're paying these taxes for degenerative shit such as Grock AI. And it's spicy mode. So
when are you going to run for politics and start trying to change some of this stuff?
Soon.
Okay.
I'm waiting for
Stay tuned for
I'm
the
just
announcement.
waiting for all the older people to just die. Because
don't do that. I mean, you'll have fun defeating some of them.
I'm sorry, but like I said, the boomers had 25 to 35 years to fix this problem and have derailed it any way, shape, or form that they could.
A lot of the boomers
pushing for oil, and now when oil is scarce, we run into these problems. Gas prices are spiked. The pumps are drying up. The economy is into free fall. And we could have avoided this. There's no reason why in the year of our Lord 200,026 we should be having this issue. No reason at all.
Well, I think you feel very strongly about this.
It takes introspection for us to evolve as a species of human being, right? Introspection. We can agree on that, right?
Well, I think we're going to evolve whether people are introspective or not.
Well, here's the thing.
Carry on with your thought.
Whether it's been through the days of Aristotle, Plato, Maximus Aurelius, you name it, introspection has always led to the evolution of mankind, right? whether it's through ideas and policies. And I've always said this before, the more socialist the policy is, the more we have evolved as a society. And then things stay stagnant because somebody comes in and says, no, 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 no. Too much change. But the privileged will always see equality as an oppression. And now here we are being stuck by a group of people who are saying, no, we got to get back into oil. We got to get back into drill, baby, drill. You remember that?
Well, we're already there.
Remember that? Remember drill, baby, drill?
Inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
All right. And now here we are, again, just creating wars over a resource that is, again,
Well, that wasn't
finite.
That wasn't the prime reason for the war starting. It's a repercussion of being in the war, for sure.
So, and you're going to tell me that we only went to Venezuela so that we can take tyrants out of power.
Let's put Venezuela and Cuba in their own little box. That's Mr.
No, I think a lot of it.
Fine, all right. I'll cut.
I think
He
I
wants
think the
their
flex
oil. He wants
of
their oil.
Venezuela. I think the flex of Venezuela that he was able to do that, like it was like wiping sweat off her brow.
Yeah, he thought he could do the same thing in Iran, and no way.
Absolutely.
Well, true, he can't, and now he's got to figure out how to get out of it. Like, I think did I say this to you last
Fat
week?
meat is greasy.
Machiavelli in 1526. Did we talk about this last week?
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
he said, you may start a war when you wish, but it does not end when you please.
It's very hard to finish. And he keeps
Comrade
saying,
Trump.
we're going to finish this war. We're going to stop this war in the next couple weeks. But says who? There's one person in this conversation we haven't heard from, and that's Iran.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't end when you says it ends. It ends when they feel like they've gotten their lick back.
Thank goodness Mr. Trump does pay attention to the stock market, because that's certainly sending him a big signal right now. Not just that, but his approvals are like tanking right now. And what's going on in the state? Let's face it, the states look what's going on at the airports. This country's having trouble running itself.
It's kind of creepy. It's really kind of creepy. And at this time, I wouldn't even go to the U.S., not even for a layover. But I digress.
Well, I'll go to the U.S., but I'm driving or taking a bloody bus.
I wouldn't even cross the border. You couldn't pay me to cross the border.
I don't mind crossing
right
the
now.
border. What's your citizenship?
Like not
Canadian.
at this time. Like I wouldn't, not at this
But
time.
I like getting grits at Bob Evans in Niagara Falls, New York.
Not grits.
Grits are good.
That is so black. That is so black.
But they're good.
But yeah, that is so black. I like getting my grits.
We don't sell grits here for breakfast here in this country.
I've never had grits.
Do you know what is the closest thing to it? You ever had cream of wheat?
No.
It's very similar to that.
Interesting.
A little more grainy.
And I don't know what.
You can throw a little butter, salt, and pepper. Maybe if you get a dash of honey if you want. Oh, it's delicious and it's nourishing.
I once dated an African American guy who was a Broadway actor. Shout out to St. Clair. In fact, he was the guy who I came to Canada for, and he loved grits so much, and he was always like, "Oh, we gotta get you trying grits," and I'm just like, it's just not something that appeals to me. He's like, if you like collard greens because you like kale, and I'm just like, would I though? I don't know.
I like collard greens better than kale, honey. And I had them too.
But before we go off on a full-on tangent, circling back to dietary restrictions.
This session will be called the tangent session.
Multiple lawsuits allege that Grock It's used to generate sexualized images of real people without their consent,
Bad.
particularly minors.
Yeah,
So
bad.
these lawsuits are centered around minors. They're teen plaintiffs, non-consensual deepfakes, scale concerns, and governmental and regulatory responses. And most of these responses on the US side have been very, very, very slow, very, very nonchalant.
But this lawsuit is going to change that.
These lawsuits will change that.
Yep.
Like I said, Europe already has taken, especially the countries like Spain, France, the UK, Australia, they have already taken strong responses to this, going as far as to block, and Brazil, going as far as to block X in their country until they have decided to make the appropriate changes.
Blocking Grock?
They blocked Twitter in totality.
Oh, X totally.
Yeah, until Twitter has made the appropriate changes. Musk's response to this is that the EU should be disbanded, that France doesn't know what they're doing, and putting a lot of money into the far-right ADF a group party in Germany to get the current group in power in Germany out of office, the current political party that is in office. And let's be clear, this is not just a tech issue. This is a human issue. This is causing irreparable harm.
It's a sociological issue.
To our youth. And had these people ever gone to even an anthropologist to say, hey,
What's the impact going to be?
what's the impact going to be? I think an anthropologist or even a sociologist would have told you, hey, this ain't going to work.
Look, this lawsuit, like you said at the start of this, it's going to shake the foundations of the internet world, social media world, and companies are going to have to take on more responsibility to police what comes out of their
So you
Machines.
know what they have
Right.
done? You know what Twitter has done?
What?
They've put spicy mode behind the paywall. So before it was free for everyone.
Oh,
Now they've put it behind the paywall, saying that it should limit the amount of people who use it because most of the people who have money are adults. And if you're going to use spicy mode, you have to now pay for it. So their response to child pornography through the use of AI
is you got to pay for it if you want it.
is no, you got to pay for it.
That's
Again, the deep bowels of shit that is the dark side of capitalism. And don't get me wrong, I've always said capitalism can be good if done responsibly, but this is where the dark side of capitalism and authoritarianism and fascism comes to play. So, what bothers me the most is what is inevitable. The fact that this is being designed by men. When I say men, I'm talking about human beings.
Yeah.
But the worst of our kind. And with the guardrails just being optional or consent filters being a choice, I think especially around the release timing of spicy mode in a time of Epstein files, I think it's sending a big signal to our youth and to women of our society. It's that our government doesn't care.
We need action.
So this to me is a deeper, my thought process on this is a lot deeper. I think it's showing that we don't care about people. It is profits over people. It's shareholders
I don't disagree
over
with
security.
I don't disagree with a lot of what you said today, but let's just remember what is the probability that we're going to see legal action on these issues, given that it's probably number 7 or 8 on the priority list of what the public considers important right now.
Well, I don't
You know what
think
I mean?
so. I don't think so. I think most people who have children, which let's face it, is most adult couples, care about this.
I'm sure they do.
I'm pretty sure most people who have children, especially people who are raising teenagers or who had raised teenagers during COVID, I think this matters to them. And I think it's very I think it's very dismissive to disregard that class of people or that segment of the population, because people with children do sway a lot. Nothing in this world pulls more clout and power than a white soccer mom with who drives a Honda Odyssey. You hear me? Nothing pulls more weight in this world than a white soccer mom that drives a minivan.
I'm doing a little search here to see what the top 10 issues are. I know I saw something on CNN the other day about, no, it was a pollster that had gone through and said, and ranked them. But most of them were economic stuff. So I agree with you. This is a pain for a family that's dealing with it.
Here's my thing too about polls. Polls can be very specific because often
depending on the question you ask.
Because on the questions that are asked, and if somebody, most of these times when they do polls, they have like maybe 500,000 people that they will call at random, and sometimes it's automated, and they will say, what are the stuff that are most important to you? And they'll give you an option of 5 things to choose from.
Couldn't find it.
And if this is not something that is on that topic or that is
it's on the
that
list, they don't mention it.
They don't mention it.
Yeah, that's true.
Polls, while they can be useful, I think when it comes on to the greater picture, you have to take with a grain of salt, or you have to approach with
you got to tweak it by saying, here's a list of what we think are the top issues. Where would concern over AI and social media addiction for young people rank on this? Oh, that'd be number 4 or 3 for me.
Correct. You have to approach it with you have to approach it from the mindset of what the context was used for at that time.
And that's where pollsters are. Pollsters are easy when it's who are you going to vote for? Being A or B, that's an easy one.
So now for me, I feel like one of the things that should never happen, and I think they should take precedence, and it will take precedence for all the lawsuits to come. So the vaping industry, you better watch out. The gaming industry, you better watch out.
Why should the vaping industry?
Because most of the
health issues,
the highest demographic of people who vape right now are kids.
Yeah.
So they better watch out. They better watch out.
Or teenagers.
Teenagers, yeah. Kids, they're still kids.
Yeah, okay.
They're still kids, right? And for me, it's. I don't think that in any world or in any way, shape, or form, shareholders should be able to dictate what I would consider to be deplorable, criminal, even activity over human interests. I never, ever, ever, ever should. Whether that's in healthcare, whether that's in tech. So, I'm talking about like the NASDAQ, or whether that is in, like the fuel industry. It should never happen. At all times, shareholders should be, I think there's a duty of care. There is personal responsibility, personal responsibility to society and their environment.
Well, we have to act legally, right?
And profits, but in a lot of these things were done fully legally.
Well, then you need to
Grock
change.
AI
so it's the laws that
done
need to be changed.
Fully legal. It's fully legal.
Shareholders are going to do what's best for their pockets and the company's pockets.
And this is where I think law should be put in place that boards, forget the shareholders, boards need to be held to a higher level. And of course, they already are, because board members can get arrested, but they should never be allowed to make decisions that would harm society or environment in the long term or the short term.
Well, there's a party.
Over profit.
Well, okay. You are a true socialist.
You should be able to make money in this world without harming your society or your environment. Plain and simple. And I don't think that has anything to do with socialism. I think it's humanism.
It's also idealistic, but I agree. It'd be nice if it could work out that way. It would be great.
Well, like I said, the social media companies are going to find out. They're going to fuck around and find out. I think that's the name of today's episode. F around and find out. But
You came up with that name before we even started.
it brings me back to Elon Musk. Instead of
let's wrap up
attacking
with Elon.
this frame evolution, right, of AI and responsible use. Like I said, Anthropic have taken a more responsible approach to AI.
They're paying a price, yep.
And they're paying a price because when you say a company is now an enemy, an American company at that is an enemy of the state just because they don't want you to misuse their product or use their product in a way that they do not deem to be appropriate, you say that they're an enemy.
Or how they contracted it with the Department of Defense.
Correct. But what that does now is that other companies, whether they're registrars or other private companies or even government companies that use their AI and have integrated it deeply into their workforce, will now have to come back and say, hey, you know what? That $5 million annual deal that I was going to have with you, I may not be able to do that because of government sanctions. And this should be illegal. This is anti-conservative. It is anti-conservative. You keep thinking that I'm not a conservative, and I keep saying to you that I am, but I think conservatism today is very different from the conservatism that I grew up in. The values have changed. They have shifted, and I think, once upon a time where conservatives used to be the working class, and then it shifted to like Democrats, middle class, working class people. Now you're seeing the conservative groups being either the mega rich or poorly educated people who think that are middle class, wealthy, but think that they're rich, and a bunch of yoga moms who don't know any better.
That was a lot to absorb. I'm not sure where to talk, but...
Or it's not that I'm trying to be idealist. It's that I'm trying to say that these things can exist and they can coexist. And it didn't have to turn into a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit for us to get to that place.
Well,
it could have been like this from the get-go. If Google hadn't fired...
But it wasn't.
Their digital ethics coordinator. Chief digital ethics coordinator.
Yeah,
They
Google
fired
had a
him.
lot of layoffs, didn't they? Yeah.
Grock decided to come in and just
fill the gap. They filled the gap.
Just decided to come in and just fuck shit up. OpenAI, they said, "Oh, this is just the price of doing business," and it's not. Or society or children aren't something to be toyed with. And now that it's affecting people's pockets, whether that's the common man in having to foot the bill for these companies and their bullshit, or their kids being affected, now we're waking up, but it didn't have to get here. But it's the lacking of vision. And I don't care how edgy your AI is supposed to be. If your product can generate explicit images of people without consent, then it doesn't deserve to be in existence. It doesn't. And if it takes a couple lawsuits to get to that place, then so be it.
Well, then that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. But because it's not just about one company, and it's just a plethora of different powerful tools and different powerful companies that are out there that are not taking their proper social care and a social responsibility towards us as a society, not just our kids. I think that's the overall very scary part. And I want to leave everyone, the listeners, with this question. Would you feel safe if anyone could generate images of you in a way that makes you feel vulnerable?
And there's an easy answer to that question.
And I think there's an easy answer to that question.
Yes.
It's just quite sad that the most people that are affected by this are female. The demographic that are affected by this is female, and specifically younger females.
Yeah, it's doing
Not
a
that
lot of
men
damage.
aren't,
Doing a lot of
but
damage.
it's mostly affecting 90% of the victims are minor females. So yeah. I think that was what I kind of wanted to jump into today. And
Big topic.
very big topic, slightly heavy, slightly mature. But what do you think?
Mature audiences only.
Do you have any, words that you want to, final words, any final thoughts?
I have come around to believing we need some guardrails in the social media world.
I'm glad that you can come over to our side. I'm glad. This is how...
Happy to join the crowd.
But here's the thing, Norm. We don't agree on a lot of things sometimes. And sometimes I say things and you think I'm a Marxist, but I'm not. I'm just a humanist. And the thing is, we have to have conversations with people. Clear-headed conversations and be open to having our minds changed, which I'm proud of you for doing, or open to having our minds changed if somebody challenged our views in a way that is logical and makes sense, right?
But I see you as somebody that doesn't like to change his mind very much.
And I see you as the same. But guess what?
Now, that is the most revelatory statements we've come out of our 2.5 years of our podcast.
But guess what? If you hit me with some hard-hitting facts and some logic that makes sense and isn't on some bullshit, I will listen.
I make a lot of sense. I still don't convince you of a lot of things.
You can't see this audience, but I just cocked my head to the left and gave that the most iconic, not iconic, the most universal black look for, what you talking about, Louis? What you talking about?
I just know that when you listen to these podcasts and in your more mature age of 10 or 15 years from now, you'll think, why did I think that? Or why did I say that? Or, you do change your thinking as you get older about stuff.
No, I just think that you stop caring. You stop caring, you start feeling defeated, and you start looking out for yourself. And
some people do that from the
This is a
get-go.
conversation for another podcast, and I actually do want to talk about this. But I'm not saying you're wrong. You're probably right, but I genuinely don't want to become the type of adult or the type of elder or daddy who I've become so fringed, jaded, and defeated that I don't care about anything else. I'm just care about me and my own.
Well, I do not. I don't think that way.
I don't want to become one of those get off of my lawn kind of old people.
Yeah, but
I don't want to become selfish.
Well, good.
I don't want to.
I'm not a selfish person. You know that. But I just have some different views of things, and
do you oftentimes believe that your views line up with your religious beliefs?
We need to talk about some specific issues to answer that.
Like I said, it is a podcast for another time. It is a podcast for another time, but man, ultimately, humans are sinful. We live in a fallen world, and all of the crap that we see right now is a result of being far, far away from our Creator and what He wills for our existence. And that's why Easter, which is coming up in another week, next weekend, is such good news. I'm looking forward to Easter.
That is the Creator beginning the redemption process of His creation.
Who died for our sins.
That's right.
And you know what my sin is right now? I'm weaning off my OCD medication, which means that I'm getting my libido back. And with Easter coming up, it means I can fucking drink again. And I'm so excited because I'm getting horny, Norm. I'm getting horny. And you know what that means? Being horny is a sign of good health. And with that, are you horny these days? Because if you are, it means you're in good health.
We'll talk about that in another podcast.
With that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening to today's episode and tuning into our messy show called Daddy and Son. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all the places. I know it's hard to find. So when you do find us, please like, subscribe, comment, push us through the algorithm, because I discovered this. We are actually being suppressed in the algorithm because of our lack of popularity. So share it with a friend, share it with a coworker, talk about us at the water cooler, share it with the waitress at the restaurant that you go to next, or waiter, because men can be servers too. And let us be known. Get us up in the algorithm, y'all. Get us up there. And if you have any questions for the show, send them over to Daddy and Son at gmail.com. That's Daddy and Son podcast at gmail.com. DADDYANDSON podcast at gmail.com. Thank you, Daddy. And until next time, sons, be good to your daddies.
And daddies, be kind to your sons.